team that's going to win is who I like. Live from New York, it's the show that was just flabbergasted.
Well, you were.
I didn't realize it. There is a take coming up in the show within the next hour and 15 minutes that's just going to knock your socks off.
Better than the Mac versus Trevor take from yesterday?
That one, look, that worked, though. It got people
That did go viral. Not for the right reasons, but it went viral.
First things first. Today, we start with the big news. Derrick Henry, Baltimore Raven, 2 years, $16 million, can get up to 20. Ravens led the league in rushing with 156 yards a game, 15 yards more than the second-place team. Henry's 30 years old, bro, but still rushed for almost 1,200 yards and had 12 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
His reaction is Flock Nation. It's up. Your reaction is what?
You left some of that out. You didn't want to read the whole thing?
Well, I
would have loved to hear you read the whole thing.
I don't like it.
What? Oh, here we go.
I love it. I love it.
He got you. You always say he's a bad actor. And he got
you guys don't.
No, I don't, Brew. I know you have an IMDb page.
Yes,
Wildes is always knocking your acting.
I love it. All right. I love it so much. I thought about bringing out the Jordan 3s and the Versace
Yeah, why
rolls.
didn't you?
Because I'm admittedly a tad bit gun shy.
Once bitten, twice shy about Baltimore?
Happened. We got a few months for me to decide on my Ravens pick. But, look, it's a great fit. I mean, Derrick Henry, and I know Nickel scoff.
Don't say you know.
Guess who had the worst offensive line in the league last year? According to PFF.com.
The Tennessee Titans?
It was the Tennessee Titans, and yet he still was second in the league in rushing, had almost 1,000 yards after contact, second in the league to McCaffrey. And even though he's 30 years old, Nick, we've seen Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson. Frank Gore was fairly recent, Adrian Peterson. And so I think he's still got some good years left. And for him to be in an offense where he's like, in Tennessee, we know Derrick Henry's running the football. Yeah. Now you got to worry about Lamar, obviously. You got to worry about the pass game. So I think he's going to see holes that he hasn't seen in years. And this is a team, Nick, and we'll see if the Chiefs, how it is next year. But this past season, if there was a weakness, it's not a weakness, but the weakest part of the defense was the run game.
Yeah.
And so
seems like Baltimore should have leaned on that
they should have ran a little more. But now they're definitely going to run the football with Derrick Henry. They're going to get a receiver probably in the draft. So
they do.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Wildes, ask me the question.
Sure. I mean, the question was just your reaction.
Well, ask me the question.
Fear,
ask me with all the teams that sign running backs, so I can do the thing.
It's $16 million.
Wildes,
do you
for 2
think,
years.
Again, this is a freestyle. Yeah. Do you think it was smart of the Baltimore Ravens to spend moderately big money
$9 million
and sign Derrick Henry?
No.
It worked if it was big money. It wasn't big. Okay, it's 1 year, $9 million.
It's again, I look at all of these things in context, right? So it's the second most guaranteed money, I believe, of any running back. Of any running back this cycle.
Oh, this season.
I think, of any
fourth season.
Right, and so I think obviously Saquon got way more than everybody else. And
but guaranteed, he only got $26 million guaranteed.
Right, and which is still that's way more than any other running back, I'm saying. And so I don't hate this deal. I want to be clear. I don't think it puts him over the top. I think that, as you pointed out, but I want to reemphasize it, this team was first in rushing already, 26 rushing touchdowns on the year. League leader was at 27. Third in yards per carry. They had the fourth highest scoring offense in the league. Their issue, you could argue in the regular season, didn't really have issues, but it certainly was not a lack of a running game. Mm-hmm. If I were running the Ravens, I would have used my resources elsewhere because I think they have real concerns from last season to this next season on the defensive side of the ball because the coordinator's gone, and he was excellent, and just a lot of free agents, a lot of guys who had Queen gone. We'll see where Clowney goes, but he had a career year. Kyle Van Noy was like, wow, what a year he's having, kind of an older player. Free agent, a lot of free agents leaving on that side of the ball. But more, Wildes, here's my thing. Who do the Ravens want to be offensively?
They want to be the Ravens.
But I don't know.
I don't really think there's anybody like them.
No, well, but the idea I think last year we were pivoting. We are pivoting from a run-first, RPO-oriented Greg Roman system to more of a traditional drop-back passing style of offense, and everyone loved it. Lamar won MVP, even though Lamar's passing numbers weren't great. People thought it was the best or second best year of his career. And then they lost a playoff game because everyone seems to, not that the Chiefs were better, which I thought, but nobody thought that at the time. They thought they lost the playoff game because they made a strategic error. They threw the ball too much. They put the ball in the MVP's hands. They screwed up by leaning on their newly signed MVP quarterback. And now, to me, this offseason, when you go out and sign Derrick Henry, let Patrick Queen walk out the door, sign Derrick Henry, what you're saying is, we want to go back to smash-mouth running football, which is an odd for a team that just spent a first-round pick on Bateman, a first-round pick on Zay Flowers, spent $50 million on Odell. Seems you just said going to draft another receiver. Like, what do the Baltimore Ravens want to be? I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
But I don't think they're going smash mouth. And look, even last
Derrick
year,
Henry.
Guess who threw the football more than Lamar Jackson? Or Lamar Jackson barely threw it more than Brock Purdy. So he didn't throw. It wasn't like he wasn't throwing it as much as Mahomes and guys like that. So in that playoff game, certainly they threw the ball too much. But I just think this will be a great compliment. At 30 years old, I think he's got a lot left. But they're not going to just be running him 28 times a game. So I think there's going to be a good mix for both of them.
All right, trivia question. Yeah. It's a projection trivia.
Sure.
Ravens leading rushers. This is the list of Ravens
Nobody
leading
gets 1,000
running
yards,
backs.
right? Yeah.
So
right.
A running back never led the league, led the team in rushing. Lamar led the team every time. So next year, who has more rushing yards, Lamar or Derrick Henry?
Well, I think it will be Lamar.
Really?
Yeah, because Derrick Henry is going to make
8-10.
I think it's going to be Henry.
All right, Lamar had 8-21, so it was close.
Derrick Henry is going to make the Hall of Fame, I believe. Derrick Henry is the best back of his generation, if you consider it post Adrian Peterson. The maybe mini generation. I don't know how you do it. I am skeptical on if Derrick Henry has another great season in it.
He still.
I understand the yards per carry down a touch. Bruce's point about the offensive line is correct, and it is so. He is already 2 years past the outlier when it comes to wear and tear. When that volume of carries, and we saw him have the injury a couple years ago, but then he bounced back and had another excellent year, and last year was good. I don't know that I would call him excellent last year.
But
I thought he was
second
good.
in rushing.
Yeah, sure, and he had a dozen touchdowns.
Yep.
I get it. I just think the tread is worn very thin on the tires, and I think Lamar will, as he has to, I think your point of that was every year of his career, led the
So you don't think he's going to get 800 yards?
Well, I don't know. How many carries? Let's do it this way. How many carries do we think he's going to get? How many carries do we think he's going to get? We can do the math in real time, right? Like, is he going to get more than 200 carries? Is he going to be?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think it's going to be 1,000?
That's just a little over 10 a game.
Yeah.
200 carries.
Okay.
He's going to probably get 16, 17
So
carries
he's going to be their feature, no question, number one back. See, because the Ravens have kind of done it by committee.
Yeah, but you don't sign Derrick Henry to do. And here's the thing. Look, as good, you're right that Dobbins and Gus Edwards and whoever they put in there has been productive. But imagine what he'll be like. This is a top 5 offensive line. Imagine what he'll be like running behind that offensive line again when they can't just zero in on you.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, the read option should be.
Right.
I understand that part of it.
Up.
I just wonder. I wonder what Derrick Henry they're getting, and I wonder how they want to use him. And I'm not sure that they know that right now.
His last game, 153 yards. Last game last year.
I think he's
and
trending
hit 22 miles an hour almost.
Like I know the data says one thing. I mean, not in the scheme.
No, I get
of,
it.
Great,
I understand what you mean.
But like, you know what? Show me the data that I'm really declining. Like, well, you should be declining, but like I'm not.
Okay.
So.
Also,
they both have the King thing. You know,
he had 2,000 yards a few years ago. So like, and then he got hurt, and last year he had 1,000 yards.
Look at PFF.
Okay.
Offensive line rating.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Who was second to last? Do you know?
No, he doesn't.
No.
I
only wrote down what I needed for this segment.
Philadelphia. Micah Parsons, not happy, we think. Saquon tweeting Eagles emojis. Saquon tweeting 3 laughing so much you're crying, and then sickening. You can interpret that however you want. Odds to win the NFC East, Dallas at 1, Philly right on their heels at 2. Then the Giants at 3, although they did sign Brian Burns, so that's good. Then the Commanders, who, I don't know what the Commanders are up to. Brew, do the Cowboys deserve to be the favorites?
No.
Really?
No. Now, I'm not saying they're not making the playoffs or anything like that, but Dallas has gotten worse. Dorrance Armstrong, gone. Mm-hmm. Tyler Biadasz, gone. All right, who's the running back?
I don't know.
Right now, their starting running back is Deuce, the little guy.
Oh, the kid from K-State.
Yeah, that's their starting running back right now. Well,
sure.
Dowdle's a free agent too.
Yeah,
so
I assume they'll bring him back, but you're right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Deuce McBride.
Deuce McBride. He's their, no, it's not McBride.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn.
Thank you. Yeah, that's right. He's their starting running back.
Yeah.
All right.
McBride.
They've gotten worse. They lost their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, who, as bad as it looked in the playoff game, is a good DC.
Yeah.
That
part's true.
And then you look at Philly. Now whatever that nonsense they went through last year, it's over.
Why?
I'm declaring it's over.
Based on
so
what?
They're going to be in a funk? They were in some supernatural funk
I cannot
at the end
believe
of last
you're
year.
going with this
supernatural funk.
Saquon Barkley, again. He's better than Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift.
True.
All right? Now he's got a better offense. That's a great offensive line. He's got a better offensive line. Well, even though they're losing Kelsey, they still are a top offensive line.
Bro.
He's going to be great. You got the great receivers. You got the quarterback to worry about.
Coordinators.
Coordinators.
And
What about
Vic Fangio.
Let
me hold on quickly because this might silence you.
I'm happy that
you
we're
might
back
just
with
agree after
Bruce's
this.
love of these birds.
Well, I'm just saying they're going to the NFC East. That's all. Vic Fangio. Let's see. Yeah. He was in Denver. 2021.
Yeah, it's great.
Third best defense in the league, scoring defense.
Yeah.
He leaves 2022. They immediately dropped to 14th, and then we saw this year it was a mess. They gave up 70.
I thought their defense was good a year ago.
Yeah, it still was 14th. It wasn't good compared to when Fangio was there. All right. San Francisco, it's going back a little ways.
San Francisco?
But hold on.
When was he?
He goes there. He goes there in 2011.
2011?
Right? The year before, they were the 16th.
2011.
Hold on.
We all know Fangio's good.
Finish? No, 16th ranked defense. He takes them to second immediately. Last thing, this is a little closer. 2015.
Okay.
We're just, all right, he's in Chicago. Chicago, they had the 31st worst defense in the league in short order. They're top 10 and then number 1.
What do you think about
did
I miss it? I was interrupting you a lot, so I don't want to miss it. I apologize. How was Miami's defense last year? Did you like it a lot?
He did the best he could with a bunch of breakdance.
Okay. Brew, what did you admit Philly was by the end of the year?
No, I never admitted. They won game. They were in a funk.
The reason Brew just did
they just go win the NFC East. That's all I'm guaranteeing.
Wait a moment. The reason Brew just did that Christopher Nolan style time jumps to confuse the audience was because I think he realized mid-sentence, I'm talking about the Cowboys' losses because they've lost Biadasz and Dorrance Armstrong when the Eagles lost Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. And now, while Fletcher Cox was not the player he once was, he certainly is a locker room leader. And Jason Kelsey was, checks notes, the best center in football still. And so
now they're going to be a bad offensive line?
No, but Brew, the Eagles were awful the final 2 months.
Where was Cox's leadership?
Hold on, Brew. So this is you're going to do this?
I'm just saying, you just lauded his leadership. Yeah. Now, I think Jalen's a great leader. All right, but last year they all were in a funk. They're going to stay in that funk?
No, they're just not going to win the division.
Oh, the question it's been how many years since somebody?
Since 04. It's been 20 years since there's been an NFC
So they're about to repeat.
Yes, I
You're going back there too because this was your team last year in the NFC.
Yes, to win the conference, which I am not saying right now. But the Cowboys' issue is about playoff collapse, not about whether or not they're a good regular season team. Philly's issue was the entire building seems to be aflame. The coordinators, Brew, they won 10 of their first 11, and then they were the worst team in football for 2 months. We can't pretend that didn't happen. And you guys got annoyed with me when I did, you can do the voice if you want, Wildes, some cap stuff yesterday about Saquon. And then what did we see happen today? Today, You know what the other team in Pennsylvania did? Signed Patrick Queen for almost the exact amount of money the Eagles use on Saquon Barkley. And now I will ask you, do you think the Philadelphia Eagles would have been better served shoring up that back seven of their defense with a linebacker like Patrick Queen or the shiny, awesome toy that is a cool running back? Like, that's why.
Look, that's fine. I honestly, I would have rather had Queen.
Of course.
And I think Saquon will be really good there, but I think their offense was fine with their pretty good running backs.
Yes.
But Saquon is an upgrade. And I think Fangio, they know something. Because you're right, they haven't been out there signing all these defensive players. I think they will improve it.
Because they don't.
Fangio knows what he's going to do with this
They also know that they have limited resources. The GM, surprisingly, against his own history, spent big money on a running back. I don't know. I'm shocked. I thought you had gotten off the Eagles' narcotic. I'm shocked that you, after seeing them, have a total meltdown the final 2 months of the year and then get embarrassed in a playoff game against Baker, for you to say, like, how many games do you think the Cowboys are going to win next year? Because they win 12 every year. So you think the Eagles are going to be a 12 or 13 win team?
I think the Eagles are going to have a really good season. Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely. Like,
Dallas coming down.
That was bad at the end of last year. But I think when all the offseason changes and moves and getting away from things, that's history now. That's history now.
Okay.
Because the Cowboys got just as bad with that playoff game.
But the Cowboys was
But this was an unusually bad playoff game.
I agree with that.
It wasn't like when they lost to the Niners the year before.
It was a historical collapse, and the unquestioned heartbeat of the team on both sides of the ball retired. It seems like a problem.
No. They're going to be all right.
Falcons' new quarterback, Kirk Cousins, now the favorites to win the NFC South. Here's the odds to win the division: Falcons, Bucks, Saints, and Carolina. But the truth of the matter is this: 412 win percentage, worst in any division. So somebody needs to get to 10 wins. You can win it. So, Nick, who's the better bet to win the division, Kirk or the Bake Show?
Well, I don't think quarterbacks win divisions. Teams do. The Falcons are the better bet to win the division. That is listen, you're trying to trick me into becoming a quarterback wins guy by doing a quarterback division championships guy, and I'm not going to do that. Listen, Tampa overachieved a bit last year, given the fact that they had $70 million of dead money on their books, so they were kind of operating with 2/3 of a roster compared to the rest of the league, and they were still able to not only make the playoffs, but look good in the playoffs. Dog walk the Eagles, and then be right there in that Detroit game, and Baker throws the pick at the end. Atlanta has been having, playing with an arm tied behind their back, and the arm has been the right arm of their quarterback. And so I actually, like you guys remember last year, I picked the Falcons before the year to win that division because I thought if they just have the 20th best quarterback play in football, they have enough talent. Instead, they had like the 30th best quarterback play in football, and they still were alive late. So I think Vegas is correct on this. Atlanta should be a favorite versus the rest of the division. I think minus 110 is a fair price.
Very smooth the way you
picked
against Baker, but made it look like he wasn't picking against Baker.
I
like Baker.
Ultimate team sport, guys. 53-man roster.
I like Baker, but it's the Falcons. Oh. There's no doubt. They have it exactly right. The odds are right.
Tampa could make the division as a wild card. I could see that.
Yes.
In the NFC, possibly, when you don't have as much depth as the AFC. But I think Atlanta, I don't know that I'd trust Atlanta come the playoffs.
Right.
But if Atlanta,
he's going to put up numbers.
He's going to
Cousins.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers did a worldwide media tour after he tore his Achilles. And I feel like people can argue about whether or not that was successful. But I think overall, he said, I'm going to play so soon. He did raise the bar or lower the bar of how devastating an Achilles is. And I feel like Kirk Cousins, who's 4.5 months out from tearing his Achilles, pre-Aaron Rodgers interviews, that used to be a huge deal, and now no one's talking about it.
You saw him dancing on stage.
Well, my goodness.
Hold on, but why?
I'm just saying, dancing.
He's throwing the ball on the tennis court.
What day is today?
It's been 4.5 months.
I'm
Look
doing
at that.
April, May,
It's a
June,
few
July,
months.
August, September. So if it's been 4.5 months,
Yeah.
it'll be 10.5
Yeah,
months removed
wild.
when the season starts.
I'm
This
the
isn't
only-
the AFC
No,
East.
no,
You
no,
don't
no,
have
no,
to-
no.
I'm
You're
the
not
only
the
one
only
saying, you know
Tape up
what?
for
The
the
guy's
Patriots.
36
No.
years old and he did
No,
tear his
Wildes,
Achilles.
you're not
Is
the
anyone
only
going to take a
Rodgers
breath and be
is
like,
40.
huh,
No,
I don't know if I'm going to tie my future to a guy with one
oh,
solid
wait-
Achilles.
wait a moment.
I'm like, have to be like, I got to be the mayor of fair.
So your answer is Tampa Bay.
I'm going the bake show. I'm worried about a guy who's not going to be at 100% health day one.
Can I be very clear
That's not a
here?
hot
You're
take.
not crazy at all. That's not a hot take. And as far as tie my future, if you're asking me if I were running the Falcons, would I have signed them to this contract? I said yesterday I wouldn't have done it. I understand why Raheem Morris did. And I think there is legitimate reason for concern.
To the point where, like, do you have to do some testing? And it's like, hey, can you?
You don't think they did all that?
Man, it's been,
I mean,
it's
they
been
gave him a
$4.5 months.
$180 million
No, I
contract.
think-
Can he
They
run
had to do
faster
all
than Cat Williams right now? I
no.
don't think so.
I actually think that some of this is probably absent of full physical, because I don't think he could pass the full regular
No,
physical
not
right
a
now.
full one.
Understanding this, so I think so let me be clear here. I think Atlanta's the right bet. I wouldn't necessarily put a lot of money on it, because I think your point that, hey, we don't know if the Achilles is going to hold up or what he's going to look like, that is a fair caveat. It is still, given the talent of the team.
Yes.
Brew loves their offensive line.
4th ranked according to PFF.
There you go.
Well, Achilles.
Where are the Jets? Jets might be that answer to your previous question.
Dead last.
31st offensive line.
Well, yeah.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.